What's going on? A to Z Sports. Sam Phelan here with you for Titans at 2 here on a Monday afternoon, talking about everything Brian Callahan had to say at his press conference. The Titans coming off of a bye week, had the weekend off, really had the whole week off. So this was the first time Brian Callahan had spoken to the media since the Monday Night Football win over the Miami Dolphins. So we got updates on Will Levis and an interesting note from the Titans head coach about scoreboard watching and how much of that the Titans are doing it. So got a couple of thoughts on whether or not the Titans should be scoreboard watching and what that scoreboard in the standings might be saying about this team moving forward. Before we get into it, want to tell everybody about my friends over at Lipscomb University. That's my alma mater, Lipscomb University. And today's Titans at 2 is brought to you by their sports analytics program, where data meets the game. Analyze, strategize, and revolutionize turning your passion into profession, going beyond the box score with game-changing insights and career-defining skills. Get off the sidelines and into the action with Lipscomb's sports analytics program. That's where you'll learn to make the calls that count. I went to Lipscomb. I turned my passion for sports into a career in sports, thanks to the help of Lipscomb's faculty and staff, thanks to all of the resources and connections they have around Nashville. So at Lipscomb, they're not just watching the game, they're changing how it's played with their innovative new sports analytics department. Go check out Lipscomb University while we check out what Brian Callahan had to say in the update he provided on the health of quarterback Will Levis.
As far as the week goes, this is a bit of a bonus day for us. So there's no real, injury report per se, but be a couple of guys probably just resting still, and then picking up the normal week Wednesday. Will probably won't practice today. I know you guys will probably ask that. He probably won't practice today. Give him one more day before he gets back into the weekly routine on Wednesday, and that should be ready to roll. Again, we'll stay tuned to any updates or changes, but expect him to be in the practice routine this week. No, I mean, I think if he's good to practice and good to go, then he's going to play, and that's really, unless it's affecting his ability to do his job, I don't think there'll be any discussion on that point. Again, if it still hurts a ton and he's having trouble throwing effectively and all those things, then yeah, that's a whole different conversation. But again, we'll just see how the week of practice goes. But I feel pretty good about where he should be at.
So Brian Callahan saying right there, if Will Levis can't do his job, if he's still in pain, if the shoulder is a problem moving forward, maybe he doesn't play in the game against the Colts. I think I would be very surprised at this point. The Titans would clearly be very surprised if Will Levis was not the quarterback against the Colts in week 6. So expect to see Levis under center. He is going to practice this week and most likely be the team's quarterback when Indianapolis comes to town for a very, very big division game that, by the way, could completely turn the tide and the vibe of this Titans season around. We talked about this very briefly, or I guess Austin Stanley and Easton Freeze talked about this very briefly on the A to Z Sports morning show on Monday morning. But one of the themes that I learned from watching the NFL this weekend is that the AFC is wide open. The AFC and the AFC South, even specifically, is wide open. We'll kind of get into that here in a second, but take a look at the AFC right now. And the amount of teams, number one, 4 teams worse than the Titans sitting at 1-4. You've got another handful of teams at 2-3, including the Colts, Dolphins, Raiders, Jets, Chargers. The Chargers play tonight on Monday Night Football. So I believe they do, actually. Maybe I'm way off there, but I know the Chiefs play. So, you got teams like the Colts who are then coming to town. And these 3-win teams don't do a lot for me. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-2. They have a very good defense, but their offense with Justin Fields, it doesn't inspire me to believe that they're going to be a 10-11 win football team. The Denver Broncos, I think, are not as good as their record would show. And you could even look up to the 4-win teams. And I would tell you that the Houston Texans are a little bit fraudulent, if we're being honest. The Texans right now, just so that let me pull it up so I don't get my numbers mixed up, have a point differential of -12. That is the third best point differential in the AFC South. The Indianapolis Colts are -3, the Titans are -11, and the Texans are -12, and somehow still 4-1. There is not a single team in the league besides the Texans with a winning record that has a worse point differential. The Dallas Cowboys at 3-2 with a -4 point differential are the other team, and the Falcons as well that are in the negatives, but neither one as bad rather as the Texans. So the way that they have sort of been able to survive games that they have not played well, I think is kind of frustrating. If you're the Titans and you're watching some of these Texans games, they survived the Colts by 2 points in a 29-27 victory in week 1. They beat the Chicago Bears in primetime in week 2 in a game that they played very poorly offensively. They won 19-13. They got blown out, demolished by the Minnesota Vikings 34-7. And then each of the last 2 weeks, the Texans probably should have lost their game. They won a game against the Jaguars that the Jaguars were winning late in the fourth quarter and somehow found a way to choke away because of a fumble on the goal line as they were running in to take a 2-score lead. The Jaguars fumbled the ball and then gave up a touchdown drive. And then the game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, where, of course, the Bills have the ball in a tie game with about 20 seconds to go. Sean McDermott completely mismanages the clock. The Bills give the ball back to C.J. Stroud and, an opportunity for Kaimi Fairbairn to kick a 59-yard field goal and win the game. That felt like a game from watching it. I watched every snap of it that the Bills should have won, had ample of opportunities to win. And the Texans kind of tried to give away. They turned the ball over on downs in the fourth quarter. They had a fumble in their own territory and an interception that CJ Stroud turning the ball over could have given that game away. Nevertheless, they survived by another 1-score victory and are now sitting at 4-1. That being said, I think if you're the Titans and you're watching what went on around the NFL, some of the better teams that you thought were good losing, nobody really being able to find their rhythm, who you thought were good quarterbacks struggling and turning the ball over in some hideous ways, makes you a little bit confident moving forward. And I thought it was interesting in the press conference Monday, Brian Callahan said the Titans have actually been paying attention to what's going on around the league, and it's been inspiring them that they're not dead just yet.
I think it matters. We put those things up. We're aware of it. For us, especially, you sort of take a quarterly look, every 4 games or so on where things stand. And, our focus when the week starts is very narrow. We're trying to win this week. It's a week-to-week league, so what you did last week doesn't mean you're going to be able to repeat it this week, and all those things change. However, there is a 30,000-foot view that I think helps guys put it in perspective that our record is what it is. We're 1-3, but you got a chance to quickly get back in the mix if you can win a divisional game this week. You see most of the league outside of about 3 teams is either 3-2 or 2-3 or 2-2. So it's all jumbled up. You focus so much on your own team and your own process that every now and again, though, it does help to get some perspective of what happens around the league and where teams stand and where your division stands and where the AFC stands, and just to show that there's, it's pretty wide open still at this point, and a lot of things can go a lot of different directions at this juncture in the season. But yeah, I think you always have an awareness of what is happening, particularly in your division and certainly in the conference.
Keeping one eye on the standings. I love it. I love it out of Brian Callahan. I love that the Titans are paying attention to this group because he's not wrong. I mean, look at this group of teams from the Ravens to the Colts, jumbled between 3 and 2 wins. The Titans, obviously with the bye, but have an opportunity against the Colts to get to 2 and 3 and really get themselves in the mix in the AFC, in the conversation in the AFC. And some of these teams that are around them too are teams that they could potentially, play. I mean, they have a game with the Chargers at one point. They have games, obviously, within the division against the Jaguars. I think the Titans matchup with New England, could be a win for them. They have some tougher games with the Lions on the schedule. The Commanders and Vikings are looking more dangerous than before. The Titans have a game with the Bills coming up just here right after they play the Indianapolis Colts. So the opportunities are there. It does make the game against the Bears that much more frustrating because that's a game that was in your hands that you gave away, and you could be sitting at 2-2 right now. If you're sitting at 2-2, you are with the Chargers there right on the outside of the playoff picture, really with a chance to get in the conversation. But this is a long, long way from over. And as we've seen with Aaron Rodgers struggling, even Sam Darnold struggling, Jordan Love throwing some ugly interceptions. Anthony Richardson was bad when he was healthy, and now Joe Flacco is apparently better than Anthony Richardson for the Colts. Patrick Mahomes has not been, the typical Patrick Mahomes. CJ Stroud has had some down moments where I just mentioned all the turnovers he had late in that game. Josh Allen was 9 for 30 for the Buffalo Bills. Justin Fields has this is not as cut and dry from top tier teams and top tier quarterbacks to the bottom of the barrel as it has been in years past. The league feels, and specifically this conference, feels messy right now. And I think that can be encouraging for Titans fans to know that you got this bye week. You're getting a little bit healthier. You had an opportunity to do some self-scouting. You just got to win against Miami and hopefully are able to run the football a little bit better and protect your quarterback a little bit better. And if you can do those things, you're 1 or 2 games away from being right in the thick of it, like nothing happened, like you didn't fall on your face to start the year. So all hope is not dead. Take it from the Titans head coach, Brian Callahan. We'll have more content coming about this Titans-Colts game throughout the week on A to Z Sports. Easton Freeze and Austin Stanley will be back tomorrow morning for the A to Z Sports Morning Show. I will be on A to Z Sports Primetime on Tuesday night as well. So for your Colts preview, for your updates on everything the Titans need to do better that they didn't do through the first 4 weeks of the season, keep it locked here on A to Z Sports. Till then, tighten up. We'll see you guys later.